In the heart of Cedar Creek, a sleepy, rural town where life moves slowly and everyone knows each other, the sudden disappearance of Elisa Montgomery shattered the illusion of safety. She was 22, vibrant, full of promise, with her whole life ahead of her. Yet one cold November night, Elisa vanished without a trace, and with her, the truth seemed to vanish as well. Elisa was last seen leaving the Rusty Lantern, the town's modest bar, around midnight. She had spent the evening with friends, laughing and joking like any other night. When she stepped outside to get to her car, no one noticed anything unusual, except that she never made it home. Her car was discovered the following morning abandoned on a lonely country road miles from town. The doors were unlocked, the engine cold, and her keys still in the ignition. Yet Elisa was gone, swallowed by the night. What should have been a swift, all-hands-on-deck search became a sluggish, disorganized response. The Cedar Creek Police Department, understaffed and underfunded, treated Elisa's disappearance as just another runaway case, a young woman who might be chasing trouble or escape. Her family was devastated, and their frustration grew as they watched the investigation stall. Friends described Elisa as responsible, devoted to her family, and utterly uncharacteristic of someone who would simply disappear. Her mother's desperate pleas for urgency fell on cold ears. As days slipped into weeks, the atmosphere in Cedar Creek darkened. Whispers spread like wildfire, whispers of affairs, drug dealings, and debts owed. People exchanged theories in hushed tones, but no one dared speak openly. Fear gripped the town. The idea that someone in their midst could harm Elisa was unbearable, but the cracks began to show beneath the surface. An independent journalist, passing through Cedar Creek on another assignment, took an interest in the case. She started digging and quickly uncovered disturbing patterns of negligence and possible corruption within the local police force. According to interviews with former officers, Cedar Creek PD operated under an unspoken rule: protect the town's powerful, no matter the cost. Tips about Elisa's disappearance were ignored or actively suppressed if they implicated influential figures. Witnesses who reported suspicious activity near the bar the night Elisa disappeared, said officers, were quick to dismiss their accounts or question their credibility, especially if those witnesses were young or belonged to marginalized groups in the community. One piece of evidence stood out: a phone call Elisa made just hours before she vanished. Phone records revealed she contacted a local businessman, Jack Rourke, a man notorious for his political connections and rumored violent streak. Locals whispered that Rourke had a reputation for intimidating anyone who threatened his interests, yet the police showed little interest in probing this lead. Why? It soon became apparent that the police department's hesitancy wasn't just incompetence, it was deliberate. Jack Rourke's influence ran deep in Cedar Creek, stretching from the mayor's office to the sheriff's department. Several officers feared reprisals, while others had personal ties to the man, creating a tangled web of loyalty and corruption. The case was quietly shelved as unsolvable, and official statements downplayed any suspicion of foul play. The consequences of this cover-up were devastating. Elisa's family was left in the dark, their pain compounded by the sense that justice was being denied not because of lack of evidence, but because of who was involved. The town's residents, too afraid or indifferent to speak out, continued to live with the weight of the unspoken truth. The disappearance of Elisa Montgomery exposes more than just a single tragedy. It shines a harsh light on systemic problems: a police force compromised by politics, a community fractured by fear and silence, and a society that often sacrifices the vulnerable for the sake of maintaining a facade. This case challenges us to ask difficult questions. How many more Elisa Montgomerys have been lost to secrecy and corruption? How often does power shield the guilty while silencing the victims? And perhaps most importantly, what will it take for a town like Cedar Creek to finally confront its dark secrets? The disappearance of Elisa Montgomery was no longer just a tragic event. It had become a powder keg in Cedar Creek, threatening to expose a web of corruption, fear, and betrayal that few wanted to confront. As the days turned into weeks, the official investigation continued its slow, frustrating crawl, revealing far more about what wasn't being investigated than what was. Elisa's family, heartbroken and desperate, refused to accept the police's half-hearted effort. Her father, Richard Montgomery, a retired schoolteacher with a reputation for quiet resilience, took matters into his own hands. He became a relentless force, knocking on doors, attending every local gathering, and quietly pressing neighbors, friends, and anyone who might hold a clue. What Richard uncovered was unsettling. Elisa had been uneasy in the weeks before her disappearance. She confided in her closest friend, Megan, about feeling watched, unsettling. Moments when she caught glimpses of a man lurking near her workplace, the diner where she waited tables, and even at her family home. The man's presence was not just creepy, it was threatening. This man was described by multiple witnesses as someone who worked at the local lumber mill, a sprawling operation on the outskirts of town. The mill was one of Cedar Creek's biggest employers, but also its dark underbelly, known among insiders for illegal logging, harsh working conditions, and a culture of silence enforced by threats and intimidation. Elisa had recently started volunteering at a local environmental group, and friends say she was gathering information, documents, and photos on the mill's violations. Was she planning to expose them? Richard shared this with the Cedar Creek Police Department, pleading for them to investigate the mill workers and management. But his words hit a brick wall. Behind the scenes, the town's power players were tightening their grip. Jack Rourke, the local businessman whose name had surfaced in Elisa's phone records, was deeply connected, donating large sums to the mayor's campaign and influencing police appointments. Whispers circulated of a gentleman's agreement between Rourke and the police. Keep the mill's secrets safe, keep the town's reputation untarnished. The police investigation, instead of digging deeper, began to look like a deliberate cover-up.